Another podcast by The Burning Donut. Known on police record as a brony slash anther artist, The Burning Donut is really Aaron Ring. His dual identity known by anyone who checks out his online galleries. And now, to protect freedom of speech and to produce some kick-ass artwork, rides The Burning Donut.
Hey everyone, this is the Burning Donut reporting as live as possible in recorded format. Today, me and Louie Games have a couple guests with us. They are Shell Dog Pony.
What's up, guys?
Scootaloo.
Heyo.
And the Corpulent Brony.
What's up?
And today we are going to be discussing the beautiful and, of course, perfectly 100% clean and child-appropriate discussion of clopping. Kinky. So I guess the first thing we're going to have to do is attempt to properly describe what the word clopping means to us before we continue.
Well, I say it's the sound a horse makes when it walks.
I know, right? It just goes clop, 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 clop. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I think, Corp, we're talking about in the context of sexual acts that a lot of these bronies seem to be participating.
No. We were going to just talk about the sounds that the horses make.
Well, why the hell am I here then?
What the hell are you talking about?
Okay, so first question: what sizes of hooves do you think is best for horses?
No.
Okay, so I guess I'll start here with my definition of clopping.
Yes, go ahead first.
I mean, obviously it's these bronies, these disgusting male bronies who get turned on by the characters in the show. Okay, and considering this show has a cast of primarily females. Yeah. And they are very humanized females, right? They have human characteristics, human facial expressions, human emotions. Obviously they're written by humans, so they're able to get turned on sexually by these characters and images, And from my paradigm of the whole thing, I mean, I believe that straight men are primarily attracted to a woman's looks. So they're able to. I don't want to get into it too much right now. I kind of want to save it, but I'll just say that my definition of clopping is obviously a male who's probably most likely a fan of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, and he likes to masturbate to these characters.
That sound about right to everybody?
Yeah. Although I will say, to be fair, a lot of the time they don't really fap to the actual show content. They fap to artist depictions of the characters.
Yeah,
it's a lot more sexualized.
What? You mean they don't just sit watching the show and just be like, look at all the butts.
Oh my God, that plot.
Well, I'm pretty sure Jesse Wood does that.
Yeah,
geez.
So what would you call it, though, if you were just maybe looking at some softcore clopping pictures and not necessarily deriving any sexual pleasure from it? Is that considered clopping, or is that...
Well, no, because in order to clop, you must be sexually pleasuring yourself.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, you could consider them, curious about the whole thing, but I wouldn't necessarily call them a clopper until they start rubbing one out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
Okay, so now that we have the definition down...
We have the definition of clopping.
Yes.
A horse walking.
Okay. So I guess the first thing we're going to discuss, Mr. Games, what's on your notebook there?
I can't read it.
Good job. All right. Such professionalism. Okay. I guess the first thing we're going to discuss is how prevalent do you think it is within the fandom? Is it really as bad as the outsiders seem to think that it is?
Well, I would say that it's obviously not as bad as Fox News makes it out to be, or what's his face, the guy who does that radio show, whatever.
Piers Morgan.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Some asshole you can find on YouTube if you just search My Little Pony
It was like Man Cow or some crap. Like
yeah,
that.
you know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I watched a couple of these programs, and you know, they all tend to define bronies as you know,
Howard Stern.
males that are males that are
Yeah.
in their 20s who don't work, who live at home, who jack off to these horses and go to conventions to have sex with other people in horse costumes. You know, and it's quite funny, you know, especially from the perspective of somebody in the fandom who does not partake in any of that. But you know, I think it is quite prevalent. I really do believe that because, you know, from where I come from in this fandom,
Yeah.
I started out on MLP forums, and MLP forums, it's just chocked full of a bunch of you know, men, usually younger teenagers, or you know, in some cases older men in their early 20s or maybe mid 20s, that don't excel in their social lives, and they don't seem to excel in their romantic lives, or that's how they put it. You know, I'm going off based on what I've read from their posts, and you know, usually guys like this, you know, they still have to have a release. You know, you can't keep that inside, and it's very easy to become attracted to these characters in not only a sexual way but an emotional way as well. And I do believe that there is a lot of clopping going on. A lot of clopping in this fandom.
Myself, I'm coming from this from an unusual perspective because I'm also an artist in the furry fandom, and a lot of people seem to have this idea that furries pretty much just like all sit around and masturbate in fursuits all day, and a lot of times like furry art is not necessarily. I mean, it has a lot of porn in it, but it's not necessarily for that purpose. It's basically like an expression of sexuality, and it's like when people start talking about like how prevalent is it, like honestly, I don't know very many people who actually who actually do the job to this stuff, you know, and I mean, I'm not saying it never happens, but I don't know that many people who actually, shall we say, do, so to speak.
It's cool that you bring that up because the friends that I know in real life who are furries, I know for a fact that they do masturbate to these.
Oh yeah.
These pictures because I go on their computers when I'm at their house and I come across it because you know these guys you know, leave it out in the open because they don't give a shit, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, like I don't really care, but from my perspective it seems like from the people I know,
even an anthropomorphic character is still, I mean, it's still fairly human in its appearance, and you know, basically most furries will draw things in such a way that it's largely human except for maybe like the shape of the face and the fact that it's got fur and markings on it, you know. So, but I guess we haven't quite gotten to that point of the discussion yet, but yeah, okay.
Well, I can talk about maybe my experience. You know, I'm unlike most people. I spend a lot of time on Google Plus, you know, and I know I'm in the minority there.
Loser.
There's a pretty large, you know, My Little Pony group there. It's about 12,000 members.
Oh.
And of course there are also some clopping communities.
Yeah.
And towards the beginning when I started hanging out there, I ended up in one of those communities for a little bit, and just out of curiosity. And I found that what it usually was people posting these Rule 34 pictures and then going with a role play. So they'd like clop role play with each other.
Oh,
yeah.
Which is sort of, I don't know, I don't like role playing at all, really.
Neither do I.
Myself, it's sort of, but most of these people I think were kids. You know, they're teenagers who are just full of hormones. And just looking for a way to express their strange, passionate desires.
Well, no, it kind of sounds like just basic, like sexing online, you know, just with My Little Pony themes to it.
And to address the prevalence, these communities I don't think would ever have more than maybe 1,000 members. And when you compare that to like the big My Little Pony community, you're seeing, you know, 1,000 out of maybe 12,000. That gives you an idea of the prevalence. I don't think it's super prevalent, but so
it kind of sounds roughly like maybe 1 out of 10 or so.
I definitely agree, but I also think that a lot of cloppers don't socially or don't tell other bronies that they are cloppers, and they keep it a secret.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
I know a couple people that have kind of came out, I guess you could say, but for the most
wow.
but for the most part, I'd like to believe most people do keep it the same, because some people, for some reason, will think less of someone if they know, and it's just the way it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, even in the furry fandom, there's always that one group that's just a little weird. Like have you guys ever heard of a baby fur?
No.
It sounds like someone has. but it's always like there's that one person where you're just like, oh, dude, those baby furs are so gross, and then like all of a sudden you see like this one person get this weird look on their face, and they're like,
hold on. This reminds me of the anime community.
Yeah.
Like the people who are into lolicon.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of. Is that a fair comparison?
It's pretty fair. It's pretty fair.
Okay.
I think lolicon is sometimes a bit older than baby furs, because a lot of times baby furs like to focus on characters that are in diapers. And,
oh my God.
And
Let's not bring diapers into this.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is sort of like Rule 34 images of the CMC.
Oh, those okay. I'm generally okay with clopping, but when you're doing it to like the supposed around 10-year-olds of the show, including Scootaloo, that is immorally wrong. God damn it!
Yeah.
Especially to Scootaloo, that's not okay at all.
Now, I another thing I always kind of sort of have a problem with is it's like I'm massively against anything that resembles censorship. So I don't want to tell people to not do this kind of artwork, but there are times where it's like you're kind of like, okay, I've seen enough gaping horse vagina for one day. Please, just no more, Which is part of what bugs me when people refer to me as a porno artist. They're like, oh, I don't want to talk to that guy. He's a fucking porno artist. It's like, no, I'm not. I mean, seriously, I get tired of looking at that kind of thing really quick.
Can I?
So, go ahead, Corp.
Oh, I was just gonna say maybe I could ask a question. I don't know if that's okay, but
Yeah.
No,
Go ahead.
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
What do you think what do you think are the negative aspects to clopping? What do you think, if there are any? What is
I think for me, just mostly the negative aspects of clopping.
Yeah.
It just, to me, I think it just I don't like how it produces more anti-bronies, basically.
Yeah. Because they basically be like, oh, look at all these cloppers. That's disgusting.
Yeah, basically, they would hear about the brony fandom, maybe like just look up like a thing or two about them, and then they would see clopping, and they would just be all like, I don't want to be a part of this fuck fest. No way.
stumble upon like Terra Y or something.
Oh, God. Well, there is one interesting aspect I have of this, especially being a furry artist, is that, like, when you're a furry, you're constantly being accused of bestiality. No matter how human your characters look, everyone is basically saying, like, oh, you're just drawing that way because you secretly want to fuck a dog in the ass, But what happens is one of the things that perhaps, like, kind of mortified me the most about the R34 of the My Little Pony community was they draw like it was cool and all when it was anthropomorphic ponies. It was okay. They had boobs and butts and vaginas and all that. It was okay. But when they started going into the realm of drawing the four-legged feral ponies, things started getting a little weird, and like they started associating things like crotch boobs and anatomically correct horse vaginas, and it's
crotch boobs are correct.
Yeah, I know it's anatomically correct, but it's
Milk
like
mare.
But no, because
No idea what you're
the furries are already being accused of bestiality, and everything they look at is largely human. And then you come over to the brony fandom, and I'm just like, guys, you know what they're gonna accuse you of if you draw this right.
And that's just it. bringing up, what Corp said, do I think there's any negative aspects to this? And I don't think there are, from a social standpoint, because that really depends on the person, right? For me, I don't really care what other people, when other people judge me or what they're thinking. It doesn't bother me. So to me, there really is no negative consequence of being a clopper, but there is something that could be physiologically negative, which is, addiction to porn.
Yeah.
Or if anyone has ever seen Your Brain on Porn.
Yeah.
And the negative effects it can have on your physiology to be addicted to porn. Perhaps then, but that can be
and it's not
put around that. Hold on, that could be put around the whole realm of porn in general, not necessarily just cloppers. So
like especially when your main source of quote. This is basically where we're really getting into not child friendly territory here. Okay, basically,
were we ever in child friendly territory?
but please stay.
But like I've heard of people who have problems when they start associating sexual arousal with non-realistic things. Like I heard of a guy in Japan who was like so into robot porn, into robot porn, he could not get off to a human. So literally he had to go to therapy and have people help him be aroused by an actual human being again.
Right.
And theoretically, that same kind of thing could actually happen if you're literally to the point where you're literally needing MLP Rule 34 to get off.
Would that not possibly actually be beneficial to society, though? If they're not out there,
Well, what do you mean?
Are you saying that having someone addicted to furry porn is good for society?
That it controls population growth or something?
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah. Or at least they're not. It sort of ends at them. Once they die, it's over.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yes.
But
maybe I just have a strange way of looking at things.
Are we finding a positive side of this?
Scootaloo, do you think there's any negative aspect of clopping?
Not really. I mean, whatever gets you off gets you off. There's not really much. It's not really my business.
Yeah.
I think the only possible negative are the stories you do hear sometimes about kids supposedly are online and they somehow stumble upon some really bad Rule 34 stuff.
Yeah.
Or even that could even be said about the dark side of of My Little Pony as well.
To be fair, a lot of those pictures on DeviantArt are marked adult only.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean seriously. This is one of the arguments that irks me, that when a lot of people who are like mainstreams in the brony community trying to clean things up and keep everything censored and stuff. This is the thing. Every single fandom has that. You can look up pictures of Ben 10 and you're going to find porn. You look up pictures of Yu-Gi-Oh! And you're going to find porn. You look up pictures of literally anything. And you're going to
R34.
Yeah, that's why the term R34 exists, So to strictly associate it with one fandom is pretty insulting. You're pretty much saying that the only way to keep, to keep the fandom clean is to not include adults whatsoever in it. It's pretty freaking stupid if you ask me.
And there's another issue too. And that's the issue of not giving kids enough credit. In society. Okay, so when I was 9 or 10, I was very aware of Dragon Ball X and all this kind of porn that was out there on the internet, and it seems like adults in society want to shield children from swear words and porn, or anything mildly sexual, because they think it's gonna have a negative effect on their emotional maturity and growth, while they're growing up. And I think that's complete bullshit. And I think we do not give children enough credit in society. I think that a lot of people assume that children are stupid, and that children don't understand a lot of things, when in fact they do. Well, and in some cases maybe even better than a lot of adults do.
Well, it also comes down to basically like if the parents are sitting and monitoring what their children are doing and not like expecting the rest of the world to do their job for them.
Right, exactly. Why should I, as a content creator, why should my stuff get censored when it's not even my fault that this kid is coming across it? It's actually the parents' responsibility to be monitoring what their children are doing. How is this my problem exactly?
Yeah, nobody draws quote unquote adult material for children to come across. Right? It's like, but it's like everyone's like, oh no, some child might see this. Well, some child might walk across the road too if their parents aren't paying attention. But is it the problem of the guy who tries not to hit the poor kid? Oh.
Well, if I were 10 or 11 years old and I was caught looking at clopping pictures, I'm sure I would just say, oh, I accidentally stumbled upon it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, I mean, geez, every kid will do that with everything.
Exactly.
It's like, I don't know how that got in my browser. Must have been an accidental link I clicked on. Maybe it's spam.
It's a virus.
Yeah. Someone sent me a virus that put all those files in my computer.
It's Luna game.
Okay, I never understood. Why do people download pictures? You can't just look at it and then bookmark it or something? I never understood why people download their porn. I really don't.
Pictures can be taken down.
Yeah,
and people like to have a collection.
Yeah.
Because they're obsessive.
Have you ever heard the term "every brony has that folder"?
I mean,
that's not true.
I mean, the only porn I would have downloaded per se is the movie Pirates, and I watch that bitch for the plot.
Dude,
I don't even care about.
I
don't even care about the porn. The plot's good enough.
Oh my God.
I'm genuinely like considering downloading the non-porn version just to watch it for the plot.
I've heard of that. And speaking of the furry fandom, is that there are a lot of artists who draw these porno comics. They work for like companies called like Club Stripes and stuff. And it's really sad because like their comics are actually really good. They have very well-designed characters, very neat character designs, very neat stories and backstories and everything going on. It's just you're reading along like, wow, I'm really getting into this character. Oh, he's got his cock out.
The only thing clopping related that I would find enjoyable to play per se was a band from Equestria Daily. That was a really fun game.
No, that game is terrible.
We're just here all waiting for 1.5 now.
Yeah. I actually got like all the little trinkets or whatever. It's like all the scenes. I felt weirdly
Did you get the Big
proud.
Mac scene?
I did. I felt weirdly proud and sad at the same time. And that's
funny. It's funny. I was playing that game, and I was actually playing for 2 hours straight.
Yeah.
Because I could not get Rainbow Dash.
It sucks. Oh yeah, dude, Rainbow Dash took me forever, and when I got it, it was just not worth it. I was like, oh.
I'm all like, I did it. Oh wait, now I have to have sex with it.
Yeah. So, and her ending was by far the worst one.
Wow.
I'm sorry. That game. I'm sorry.
I've seen clips of that online, and it just looks fucking awful.
It was like
such a terrible game.
Okay, like all the quote rewards are like disgusting, but I mean, well, to some I guess they're not. But the actual game content itself was actually really, really addicting, and was kind of sad.
I hate to say it but you can tell that the guy put a lot of work into that game.
And the thing is, it shows. It's very enjoyable. It really is. It's just
that it's like walking around trying to fuck
of the game.
Yeah,
it's not appropriate.
Yeah, like it's enjoyable, but not sexually enjoyable for some people. Just the game content itself is really fun to play.
I think the only one you can do that doesn't allow you to have sex with is Fluttershy.
I like to think of it as Viscera. You know the guys in the game Viscera Cleanup Detail, where you're basically a janitor, and it's basically janitor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. Like it's fun, and you have no idea why, and you know you should not be enjoying this, yet you are.
I have to admit, I have never played a band from Equestria, and I don't plan to.
Yeah, it's just one of those things.
I have a question for everybody. I want to get a little more meta. I want to get a little more
I want
to get a little more philosophical here.
Oh God!
And I want to ask everybody, why do you think cloppers? First, I want to know if anybody here has clopped or has tried it or does clop.
Once.
Okay.
All right. I guess
I can admit it.
Since we're specifically discussing the concept of doing this to My Little Pony stuff,
yes,
I will have to admit that there have been some anthropomorphic pictures that just that like had that like certain thing. You're like, oh, that's kind of hot.
Yeah.
You know.
What else?
I have tried and I couldn't do it. So
yeah, like I've never even tried. This isn't anything to the guys who do, but it's like I just look at that and I go, that's disgusting. But that's not. It's just my personal preference. It's not that I'm not like banging on anyone that does it. It's like whatever gets your dick hard. But I mean,
that's cool.
For me, it just doesn't do it.
Like I said, this was specifically anthropomorphic versions.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Like
it's
the
fine.
non-anthropomorphic stuff to me, it kind of.
I'm actually there with Aaron too.
I feel like a full-blown production of a porn version of Equestria Girls is just waiting to happen.
Oh God!
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't happened.
I want to hear Corp. Corp, have you?
No.
Never once. No.
No.
No. Okay.
I love how you had to think
I'm
about
starting
that.
to feel really disgusting now.
So now I want to get to my question, and I want to know what you guys think regarding why do these bronies clop? What is it specifically?
Okay.
Why do they do this? Why? Because hold on, I would like to think that these people obviously know. You know, they have a neocortex, and rationally they can make out that these are clearly cartoon candy colored horses, and highly sexualized pictures of them. But I want to know why they still choose to do it. Why is it attractive to them?
I'm gonna go with the obvious answer here. It's the fact that, like, let's face it, like, pretty much all of us are emotionally attached to one or more characters of the show, and I think that for some people that emotional attraction turns into a sexual attraction, or it's just the fact they were already furries as it is, and they, so it's just one of those two. But it's just for me, it's one of those two. It goes from emotional to sexual. They already had that, and they just found something even like they have they have this emotional attraction, and they have a clopping a furry fetish, and now it's like that's kind of the best of both worlds. And then there's also people that like look at that and go, I can fap to this, and they give it a try.
Well, like he was saying, is that like for people who have more than a physical concept of sexuality, like if you're the kind of person who can find like aspects of personality and a person's voice attractive and things like that, I mean, I suppose I can understand, because there are certain elements that they try to do that they try to associate that are sexy, not necessarily sexual, but are sexy to like the aspects of the characters. Mm-hmm. You know, like for me, I love like girls with sexy voices, and okay, this is gonna be pretty adult here, but
late on us.
Parents, close your children's ears.
I love how you got really close to the mic for that.
Yeah. So I really like Jaja's voice from the Aristocats. Like, if there was a woman who spoke like that, that would be really hot. It's like, yeah.
All right.
So now that I've thoroughly embarrassed myself,
haven't we all?
Yeah. Corp, why do you think these people clop? What is it?
Well,
what could it possibly be?
Yeah, sort of like what I agree with what Scootaloo said, but also I think, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of these kids might be teenagers, and no offense, I think Louis might still be in that group. I don't know about anyone else. But,
don't make fun of me.
But when you're in that age range, you know, I remember my time there too. You're pretty sexually charged, and you really see that sort of thing in everything around you. You know, even inanimate objects, I'm sure. So I imagine it probably has a lot to do with hormones and the age of the people clopping. Other than that, I think also attraction. You know, if you have some sort of an emotional connection and you move it into the next phase of a sexual connection with the characters on the cartoon show, I'm sure that leads to some clopping. And some of it also might be, I don't know, I think I tend to think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I tend to think a lot of the artists making the Rule 34 stuff may not themselves actually be cloppers.
Oh, no.
They just want to get their name out there, and they know it's a pretty lucrative market.
Exactly.
As an artist myself, I can say, especially trying to break into the fandom, the easiest way to get as many views as possible is draw some fucking porn. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Of
a
course.
terrible thing to do. And like if you go to my gallery, I really don't have a lot of porn, but there's like one picture I drew when I was just like drunk off my ass. It was basically of like a Wonderbolt being fucked by a shadow
I have
bolt.
that.
Yeah, I know you have that. but a lot of artists who draw this, it isn't necessarily because they're sitting there being like, oh my god, Rainbow Dash, oh, you know, they're sitting there and like, how can I draw something that is going to make people know who I am? I know. Let's draw Rainbow Dash or Fluttershy having sex. You know.
Right, and that's cool, guys. I mean, you know, if you're an artist and you're really good, you definitely should be doing that. Get your work out there. But
remember,
go ahead.
Remember, a lot of the fandom, they're going to be like, no, that Rule 34 is bad stuff.
I don't care.
Dr. Wolf.
Oh, Dr. Wolf is just one of many. It's really sad.
I'd rather not talk about Dr. Wolf right now.
Yeah.
But,
Don't worry, me and Aaron are going to do that later.
so, for me, when I was into really hardcore into pickup, there was this theory that was tossed around in one of the books. It was a book done by his name is Lance. He goes by, and it's called it's not him who created it, but he kind of expanded on it a little bit in terms of attraction, and it's called the triune brain theory.
Yeah.
And the idea is that we have three brains, right?
Yeah.
We have a reptilian brain, an emotional brain, and our neocortex. And, you know, the reptilian brain is responsible for drives such as hunger or sex, you know, these basic needs. The emotional brain, obviously, you know, emotions such as happiness, sorrow, anything we can articulate as a type of emotion. And then, you know, your neocortex, which is your rational, very intellectual, logical brain.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is that, you know, us humans like to think that we're really smart and intelligent, and we're so much different from other animals, and we're so much better.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that we're primarily run by our reptilian brain on a daily basis, right? Everybody gets hungry, which motivates them to go get work and eat. Everybody has sexual desires and emotional desires, which makes them want to go socialize or they want to be part of communities and meet other people. And you know, so in regards to clopping, you know, I mentioned earlier where the characters on this show, you know, from an emotional standpoint are very humanized, and it's very easy to get attracted to that. You know, if anybody can get attracted to that.
Let's face it, Tabitha St. Germain, she's got a pretty sexy voice.
I would not bang her, but
I wasn't talking about physically. I was just saying her voice.
I've actually never seen a picture of her. I'm gonna go look her up now.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no,
Well, I'm
that's
sorry.
John Delancey.
No.
So-
no. Tara Strong, on the other hand.
Oh.
No,
if John Delancey's okay with clopping, I'm okay with clopping.
I don't know. The hair is kind of frizzy, but I feel like the body isn't that bad. I don't know. I feel like if she put on a bag, it would be okay.
Are you a
It's
top or a
terrible.
bottom, Scootaloo?
okay,
Scootaloo,
so
are you a top or a bottom?
let me finish here before we go on. In regards to what I said with the triune brain theory, you know, these cloppers obviously know that these characters are horses, and they rationally do understand that they are not human, and that being sexually attracted to them is probably weird, hence why most of these guys obviously hide it.
Yeah.
And we're not aware of the true prevalence, and probably will never be aware of a true prevalence. But their reptilian brain understands that these characters are, or it thinks that they're women. It thinks that they're actual women, because, you know, the reptilian brain does not have rational and logical capabilities, right? It's very, very primal, very instinctual. It understands that it sees it and goes, okay, this character is a human woman. It has humanized facial expressions. It seems to have a personality, and this is what eventually leads into a sexual attraction, right, with these characters, and especially when people are drawing them like that on the internet, that these emotions are much more powerful than your rational thought.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what compels them to do, to start clopping, right? And then they do, and they realize, oh, it feels great, right? Because it's very comparable to getting off to actual pornography, So
Yeah.
there's a very easy explanation, I think, as to why they do it.
Yeah.
Right, and I think it's it's not as disgusting as people think it is. It's actually a fault within us humans and our brains. It's not really because.
And I mean, seriously, if you were to actually like get into a discussion over with quote unquote normal people and try to like find out what their weird little fetishes are, you might get kind of weirded out really quick.
Everyone has their.
And I do want to make it clear that I think you clobbers are disgusting, and I hate you, and I don't like you, and I never want you to message me or talk to me.
Yeah,
Jason, he doesn't like you.
and I do think you're sick and disgusting, and you need to go out and get a life. But at the same time, I love my bronies, and
Well, like I was saying, it's like I don't believe in censorship, but there are times where you're just like, God, enough already.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm not gonna say stop drawing it, but it's just kind of like I'm just gonna go over to this website now.
It's like I'm done experiencing the white side of the fandom.
GG,
You know what I mean?
Oh God.
Sorry, it was just a joke to be made.
That laugh though. Ha ha ha.
That was not funny.
Sensible chuckle.
All right, so does anyone have anything they want to plug or anything real quick? Or
Oh yeah. My Mixify's pretty ballin'.
what?
Well, why don't you let the world know what it is and where they can find you? And what else you have?
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah, say this is a project I'm working on, and
Gotta get the deets.
yeah.
Pretty much Mixify is a DJ platform where a lot of people go to. If they have like, you can just do it from your room, or you can do it from like a club.
Yeah.
Just kind of raise awareness about it. Well, basically, DJ Dash is my alias on there, and I got in pretty early, so it's just / Rainbow Dash after the URL. So I feel like I'm pretty lucky for that. But once a month, like the weekend before every major holiday or after, depending on when it is, like July 4th is actually on July 5th because that's the Saturday it's on. But once a month we always top the charts and all that good stuff, and
Nice.
we have a good time.
Cool. Anyone else?
Guys, you know me. I'm Sheldon. I have a MLP music channel where I do piano and drum covers, and I also have another channel that is dedicated to podcasts and other analysis and just stupid bullshit that I feel like doing. You guys can check that out. It will be in the description of this video.
Yeah. And you should check out his last podcast. He had some guests on there that were like really insightful, especially this one guy. It's like,
was it Licky?
Yeah, sure, yeah. It was
And
like,
Rezios too. Right?
And I wasn't in it.
yeah. Someone forgot their.
Shut up!
Someone was experiencing.
The world doesn't need to know about my first world problem.
And how about you, Mr. Corpulent?
Just my channel on YouTube, Corpulent Brony. I'm sure we'll put a link in the description of the video.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have something cool coming out, I think, this Friday. So
Cool.
Sure, check
Can't
that
wait.
shit out,
Nice.
yo. All right.
Don't forget to check out my channel, youtube.com/user/LouisGames with a Z. I have nothing on there.
I have nothing on there, so check it out.
And soon to be youtube.com/user/LouisReviews.
Which doesn't exist yet.
But soon too.
But it doesn't exist yet, but be sure to check it out before someone else steals the URL from me. And and my stuff, be sure to check out my artwork at theburningdonut.deviantart.com. Be sure to check out my my YouTube channel because you're obviously not watching it right now. So yeah.
Also, don't forget to check out my Tumblr. Tumblr is badlydrunkbronies.tumblr.
And yes, my Tumblr is, of course, The Burning Donut. In fact, if you Google The Burning Donut, you'll find everything that I fucking do.
Or
So
a bunch of cars doing donuts.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
All right.
Our content sucks. Unlike, unsubscribe. Leave hateful comments, please.
unsubscribe.
report us.
Just towards Sheldon.
All right, so
I really like comments.
All right, I can keep music going. It's telling us it's time to call it a night. So
shut up, music.
So Donut out.
GG podcast.